he'll be dealing with his whole life.
And what was it?
I just thinking it is a form of anxiety, and I mean every human being has anxiety. I don't say that I'm abnormal anxiety. I just mean I think the OCD. I'm not tapping teddy bears anymore, tapping anything anymore. But I think that the roots of it, which are some anxiety based, are still aspects of my life.
Yeah, I think I have, and I've talked about it a million times. I realize that I'm not really a depressive as much as I am as anxiety person.
Yeah,
I get a lot of dread.
Do you sorry if you've spoken about this, but do you meditate?
I don't. I've been told to. Lynn used to. She was a TM person twice a day, or if not more. And I'm a sober guy, and I know meditation's all part of it. I just don't. I don't know what it is, Zach, about my brain where it's like, I know that would probably be good. Why not just try that? You're exercising, you're doing all this other stuff. Why are you holding out?
You know what the thing is about when you reach our age? I'm 45,
right?
And I think you know the things that are going to help or hurt you, right? Sobriety has really helped you. Exercise has really helped you,
right?
I have my things, and it's like. I could lay out. In fact, I've done this. I had a friend who was having like a breakdown, and I said, "All right, I'm going to write you a menu of what you need to do. If you do this, I guarantee you. I'm not a psychologist, but I've been to plenty of therapy. If you do this menu, you're going to take some leaps forward. Obviously, go see someone professional. But here's a start.
What were they? Exercise, diet.
I mean, in broad strokes, stop drinking, stop smoking weed." Exercise every single day, meditate twice a day, journaling, writing everything down that you're stressed about, being in conversation with loved ones. There were a few others. Eating right. He did every single one, and then of course started seeing someone professional. And now he's found true love, and he's married and never been happier. I'm not saying I saved his life. I'm just saying I was a crisis counselor for a second. That's all I'm saying.
That's a big list. That's a lot to do.
No, but what my point is to you is that I was thinking that you and I have reached a point where we know what works for us, and then of course there are things on top of that. They're like the bonus things. For me, it's meditate. I know if I haven't done TM yet, but I just use one of the apps. I know if I do that 20 minutes every morning, 5 days a week, my anxiety is going to be noticeably less.
Really?
Now, can I always do that? Do I sometimes go, oh, fuck it? Of course. But I can't. But then if I'm anxious, I have to call myself out and go, dude, did you fucking exercise? Did you drink too much? Did you meditate? Did you do the things on the checklist? Because then you have to take 100% responsibility for your own mental health.
Yeah, and I've been jacking myself on coffee again. I didn't drink coffee for a year.
Yeah, that's another one.
Ooh.
That was another one on the list. No coffee, no caffeine. As I sit here drinking a Red Bull, by the way.
I got an addictive brain, so it's like I just do it all day until I'm exhausted.
Can you sleep?
Yeah, I sleep all right.
Yeah. Well, I think if you've given up booze, in my humble opinion, you should allow yourself some caffeine.
No, I'm good. So when did you start the performing business?
My dad did community theater.
God, Jewish community theater?
Oh yeah, very Jewy community theater, and he was good because he was a trial attorney, so he knew how to entertain a room full of people.
Did he play Tevye?
Pretty close. He did Prisoner of Second Avenue, the Neil Simon play, and then he did Hello Dolly. He was Horace Vandergilder.
Wow.
And he was good. He would get the leads because he was charming, and so I was a little kid, and I'd go watch him do the plays, and I'd be like, this is a job. So you're saying that some people don't just do this as their hobby. This is a job you can have? Because I just thought it was the most. I was watching my dad make 500 people laugh, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. How do I get into this?
Yeah. And
I had no interest in sports at all. Couldn't be less interested. Yeah. And so when it came to camp, which is very big on the East Coast, especially for Jews, they were like, there are camps that aren't sports related, Zach. There are theater camps where you go and you perform and you take classes. And I was into the tech theater too, like lighting and stage set building. Yeah. And he was like, you do all that. You build sets and you do anything, stage combat. This is right when video cameras were starting to become popular. Like they even have video courses. And so I went there to a place called Stage Door Manor in upstate New York, and I just it was utopia. I had never been so happy in my whole life.
It was a summer camp.
It was a summer camp where you'd go for 3-week intervals. I went for 6 weeks. Where every 3 weeks you would do a show. You'd be put in a show. Every kid was put in a show.
Yeah.
And you rehearse the show and also take classes and also fall in love for the first time and also be up in the woods. And then you'd start again the next 3-week session. And your parents would come up at the end of each of the 3 weeks and see the plays.
Yeah, I went to camp every year. I always wondered whether it was my parents wanting me to have new experiences or just wanting me out of the house. It was never clear.
Probably both. Why can't it be both?
It can be both. I went to an arts and music camp in Pennsylvania. That was the best one.
What was it called?
Lighthouse.
Okay. Because there was another one called French Woods that was very popular, too.
This was in like Pottsville. It was in Pennsylvania, and it was mostly music. And it was not, there wasn't theater. It was all music and painting and photography and ceramics, but no theater that I can remember.
Right. Well, mine was very musical theater, Broadway kind of show based. I mean, they did have non-musicals as well.
How many years did you go?
I went to 2 different camps. I went for a total of 4 summers, but the one that I'm mentioning because it was the most impactful, I went to for 2 years. And while I was there, and it was utopia because in public school, not playing sports, I had friends because I was a class clown and funny, I think. But I couldn't get the girls because they weren't that interested in me, and just as right when puberty's really kind of kicking in, and there I go to camp and I'm like good, so I'm getting the leads, and keep in mind, half the boys there are already realizing they're gay. So right. I was like, oh, all the girls, I was dating like the popular girl and I'm the lead in the play. I was the quarterback of the football team there.
Right.
And I never wanted to leave. I would sob when it was time to leave. So because it was so close to Manhattan, 2 hours away, scouts would come up and look at the kids and see who
really?
Yeah.
Were there like a lot of like good actors there?
Well, yeah, plenty of other known actors besides me have gone there. Robert Downey Jr. went there, Natalie Portman, Josh Charles, Mandy Moore, John Cryer. A lot of.
So this was a high level. This was a known place.
It's still to this day the most known if you're going to send your kid to a program in the summer. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So the scouts come.
The scouts come up and they see like, hey, was there any talent for me to recruit to send on auditions in Manhattan? And I got scouted, and a manager started submitting me for auditions in the city. My parents would bring me in. 13. Do
you remember your first girlfriend's name?
The first girl at camp was Lacey Tucker. I was just smitten. She was my first French kiss. And I didn't really know what was happening. I knew that there was going to be tongue involved, but I didn't really know what to do. And she kind of took the lead. Yeah. And there it was. And it was glorious.
Yeah. The innocence of that first French kiss.
Oh, and I remember the bench, because I've gone up since to see, my nieces and nephews go to the camp now. And I've gone up and seen the bench. It's just like, oh.
Where you had the French kiss?
Yeah, where the French kiss went down. It's great. So
does it do anything? Does nostalgia kick in?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm very emotional when I'm there because it was it was heaven to me, that place. It was an escape from the family drama I've told you about. It was escape from anxiety. It was escape from feeling I just didn't feel like I fit in at all at public school. And then when I was there, it was magical. And then, of course, like you said, I'm burying the lead. I was performing and getting laughs and going, this is just so intoxicating. I'm in.
And when the manager took you on, what were you going out for? Did you get anything?
Oh, I mean, went out for like a lot of famous movies. I got callbacks on, like Big and Parenthood.
Wow.
I remember meeting Ron Howard for Parenthood because I got a number of callbacks. I met Oliver Stone for Born on the 4th of July. Lots of things like this. I actually got a film called The Good Son, which was going to change my life because it was a lead in the movie, and then the movie got shelved. They later made it with Elijah Wood and Macaulay Culkin, I believe.
Right.
So a lot of things were happening, and then I got a pilot for CBS. Bruce Paltrow, who had created St. Elsewhere, made a pilot called High, which was supposed to be like his big new show about a high school. Yeah. And it was going to be gritty. It was the same year 90210 came out, and Bruce Paltrow's answer to that was, no, we're going to do the opposite of the glossy soap opera version. We're going to do a gritty, like Hill Street Blues, but a high school in Jersey version. And it was Gwyneth Paltrow's first job. She was his daughter, and she was the beautiful cheerleader, and I was the sort of nerdy freshman. And we shot it in Jersey, and I couldn't believe it. I thought my life was going to change, and then they didn't pick it up. And I was like, "What do you mean you're not picking it up? I have a gift basket." It says I have a card that says "Welcome to the CBS family." I didn't know that pilots didn't get picked up. I thought
Wow, so that's like you had to learn. Like that's like you had to learn that.
I learned it at 14.
Because like they almost always never get picked up.
Yeah, I didn't. I remember not understanding.
How would you know?
I didn't understand, and it was so high profile. It was like a big budget thing, and this was a famous showrunner, and I was like, "What do you mean? I don't get it."
Yeah, how is this possible?
But I think it was such a blessing in disguise because I would not have accomplished the things I've accomplished. I don't think had I been a full-fledged successful child actor.
No, probably not. I mean, so what happened after that?
I kept auditioning for a bunch of things, and then I didn't really get much. Kind of checked out a little bit. You know, it was tough because I was a teenager, and then it would take me an hour to get in. I'd go sit in a waiting room. Sometimes I'd go in and be like, thank you. And then I'd take an hour to get home. While all my friends are hanging out and swimming in pools and pulling bong hits and hooking up with each other. I was on a New Jersey Transit train going in for a 30-second audition. So I started to get a little demoralized by it. Then when I was 18, Woody Allen cast me in Manhattan Murder Mystery. I am in one scene in the film, but I play his and Diane Keaton's son. And that was like, oh shit, maybe I should be paying attention to this because it's a small part, but I just got a part in a very high profile thing. But I had gotten into Northwestern Film School, so I had to choose, okay, fork in the road. Are you going to stay in Manhattan and ride this, you just got a part in a Woody Allen movie, or are you going to say, fuck it, and go off and study? What I really wanted to do was study filmmaking and acting at Northwestern, and so that's what I did.
So you went there all 4 years?
I went there 4 years, yeah. Studied filmmaking, made short films, just did anything pretty much that wasn't filmmaking or acting related. I was mildly interested in. I mean, it was a liberal arts education, so I studied lots of things. I had to, but and of course made amazing friendships and had my first true love and all those wonderful college things. But really, focused on filmmaking and making movies.
That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think I kind of got clear. Like I had seen, because I'd had this experience, I'd seen so many actors that were good, that were barely surviving.
Sure. I
had an education because of my exposure that showed me this is such a fucking lottery. I mean, I'm sitting next to these actors who are chain smoking. They need this pilot because they got to pay their mortgage.
Yeah,
and it scared me at a very young age. It scared me, and I said, I love to act and I want to act, but that's such a fucking lottery. I'm not investing in that. I'm going to invest in making my own stuff.
You had that realization at what age?
In my teens.
Really? You were able to see that?
Oh, yeah, man. Because I would go do play readings. You do play readings, for anyone listening who doesn't know, they're trying to see if they're going to do this play. They don't pay you anything. You just go and you read the play. I would go do that. And let's say I was 15 years old, and I'd sit across from an actor who was giving the performance in this play like I had never fucking seen another actor give in my life. And you never seen them. And you never knew who they were. And they had no money. And that scared the shit out of me. I was like, this isn't a meritocracy.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say, obviously, if you're genius, you've bought a lot of lottery tickets. And if you happen to be also good looking, you've bought even more lottery tickets. But it's still a fucking lottery. And I didn't want to be reliant on that.
No, it makes sense. But it's good that you had that realization young.
Right. So I knew if I got the education in filmmaking and producing and making stuff, I'll always... If my number doesn't come up as an actor, I'll produce movies. I'll make movies. I'll be a cinematographer. I'll be a first AD. I will work in my backup won't be being an orthodontist. I knew that I was going to somehow be in production.
Right. And then, but like how does Scrubs happen? That changes fucking everything, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a jump. I went back to Manhattan after school and started PAing on rap videos.
So you made the movie before that, huh?
No. First, I went to Manhattan and started doing what a lot of kids do out of film school. I was PAing, and this was the height of music videos.
Right.
So it was like, this is like 90,